Hello and welcome to this evening's Follow Academy webinar with me, David Jones, and Aondo Markets. If you're watching the recorded version of this, it was held live on Tuesday, the 14th of November at 7:30 in the evening. So the webinar should run for half an hour, 40 minutes, depending on how many questions we get. I'll just leave the risk warning up there for a second. Just to explain a bit more about tonight's webinar, every week on a Wednesday lunchtime, I do a webinar with Aondo on a market outlook webinar where we look at stuff you can trade, pound against the dollar, euro dollar, gold, oil, the various stock market indices. So that's where it's sort of self-directed trading, which I think is something that plenty of us are familiar with. But tonight's webinar, and the one we do a couple of times a month, is about following other traders. It's something that's been around for a while, but it's never, I don't think, gained an enormous amount of traction in the UK. I only started looking into it about a year and a half ago, and I've definitely been converted since then. And I think it's an interesting way of gaining exposure to the markets and sort of running what is in effect a portfolio of traders rather than being a trader yourself. Or of course you can do it, you can do your own trading as well, but gain more exposure and maybe filter out some of the volatility by following other traders. So tonight we're going to go right from the basics and go through it step by step, how we find these traders, all that sort of thing. So let me just bring this up. So the basic principles, the first bits that we are going to cover, these basic principles, all about identifying profitable traders, so looking at traders' track records, drilling down into those, building a portfolio of traders to follow. So we have our team that we're following, their trades will be carried out on our account. Managing risk, it's a really, if you've ever traded, you know that managing risk is important anyway, but managing the risk of the traders you follow, there are a couple of measures we can do for that. And then monitor the positions, any trades that they do, how do we follow them, and there are two platforms within Aondo where you can follow people, but it is all, I think, pretty straightforward. So to start off with, what we're going to do, we can start right from the beginning. So I've got a few accounts. I've got an account I use for these demos, these webinars. So we'll use that. It's a real account with real money. It just gets chopped and changed a lot because I add and subtract traders on these webinars. So we're going to start off by logging into WeTrade. So WeTrade is Aondo's platform. Then we're going to look at the rankings list, different sort criteria, and drill down into the data. So let me stop talking, and we'll just get going and jump right into it. So here is the Aondo homepage. So what we're going to do, I'll log into my account. There we go. I've logged into that. So we'll go to WeTrade. Okay, so I've logged in. And if I go to my account first, I don't know if I am following people, but I sort of tend to close them down ahead of these webinars. Yeah, so there are no open trades. So the balance on my account is £1,260. No open trades at the moment. So let's just go back and look at the rankings list. So the way this works, there are traders who trade on the Aondo platform, and you could do this as well, where you basically make your track record visible. So you let people see how well or how badly you've done. And you can carry on trading, and your trades get posted up there in real time. And what then other people can do is choose to follow you. So if we have a look, Edelmetall, I'm going to explain all this in a bit more detail in a sec, but Edelmetall has got 1,252 followers. So there are just over 1,200 people who are following Edelmetall, and where Edelmetall's trades, whatever trades this person does, get carried out on the follower's account automatically. Okay, so it's sits there and it all happens automatically. Once you started following a person and you execute on your account, you don't need to do anything. You need to monitor it, obviously, but the trades will go through automatically at a size and a level of risk that you determine. Okay, so we'll explore all of this as we go on this evening. So what do we have here? So we have, let's go back for, let's see how many traders we've got. So we've got here 692 traders available to be followed. So 692 traders making their track records available. So that's the choice of traders we have. What we'll do first of all let's sort it by P&L. Let's pick the last year, and we'll do a quick click here to sort by P&L. Okay, so the top performer over the last 12 months is Peter Lloyd, 5757. So if we'd have followed him, if we go back in time and follow him, we'd see a return of 311%. The next best performer is Raul Bermudo, who's notched up just over 200% gains. Then we have Giuseppe. He's come up a few times actually in these webinars. Who's up 180%, and so it goes down. So if we go down to the bottom of the page, the 10th best performer is Hugo, who made a return of 56%. So you can see, actually, I think these sort of triple-digit returns are somewhat unrealistic. I think we have to be a little bit wary if we see absolutely stonking returns over a year. This is where our drilling down comes into it, because it does tend to be pretty unsustainable. Now, what I'm going to do straight away is apply an extra filter to this, because the way people can make their track records available, even if they're trading on a demo account, they can make their track record available. So, for example, I'll show you how I know in a minute, but Peter Lloyd isn't trading with real money. So this 311% has been achieved on a demo account. Now, my opinion is, yours may be different, but mine is, well, if I'm going to follow these people with real money, my own real money, my 1,200 quid in this example, in this account, I want them to be trading with real money as well. So I don't have any interest in looking at people who are just trading on a demo account. So I can switch a filter on straight away. If I go to RMT, this filters real money traders. So this will only show me traders who are trading with their actual own cash. So you can see that straight away, what was the number before? 692. Straight away, that level has fallen to 213. Okay, so we've stripped out 400 odd traders who aren't trading with real money. So if we sort by P&L again, Giuseppe's still in there. I think he was third, wasn't he? Third or fourth out of everybody. But out of real money traders, he's the best performer. He's up 180% over the time period I've chosen, a year. Barbara, number 2, is up 90%. The Venture up just under 47%. And so it goes on to our 10th best performer. Global Trading Desk is up 31% over the year. So straight away, and we know they're real money traders because they've got an R next to their name. So if I just flip that off, so I knew Peter Lloyd wasn't a real money trader because there's no R, and there's no R next to Raul, but there's an R for Giuseppe. So let's flip that back on to real money traders. Okay, so here we have our list of people to start from. We can choose different criteria. If we can say, right, last 3 months, who's the best over the last 3 months? It's Barbara, who's the best over the last 3 months with a return of 29%. But I think the headline profit is only where it starts, because it's all well and good making 30% over 3 months. But if along the way you lost 50% of your account before bouncing back, that's probably a level of volatility that a lot of people don't want. I definitely don't want that. I want ideally a nice, smooth quarterly profit without too much drama. If we look at this one down here, Trader 2404, so made 12% over the last 3 months. That's a very good return, but lost nearly 30% along the way. You can see it in the shape of the chart. You can see for a long while it was underwater, then has turned it round. So I think an important figure for me is this one, the drawdown figure. So how much of open profits are given back along the way? And in an ideal world, we want that to be relatively small. So we've got 21% for Barbara, 20% for the Venture. That's a bit better, 13.78% for whoever that is, positive. We'll have a look at that one in a bit more depth. DAX Call 18%, MAPFNAR, that's a good one, 9% drawdown. Okay, so we have, it's a balance between going for outright returns and not having too much volatility along the way. Then we have trades per month, I think is another important one. Barbara's doing 225 trades a month, pretty active, and then the Venture, by comparison, is doing less than 5 trades a month. I don't think there's any right or wrong way here, but again, it can give you a feel for maybe their style. And then down here we have followers, how popular are they? And what's important to me as well is the shape of their P&L. We have their profit and loss chart here. In an ideal world, I'd like a nice, smooth uptrend. Barbara's got a good trend here. I don't want somebody like, for example, this person down here, who seems to have had a really long losing run and then turned it around a bit towards the end. So for me, a smoother P&L. So what we're going to do next, we looked at the rankings list. There's various sort criteria. Now we're going to drill down and have a look at winning trades, what they trade, open positions, all that sort of stuff. So let's pick on Barbara. So we'll click on Barbara, and we get a lot more information now. So we can see exactly how they've made their money. Okay, so here's Barbara. Barbara has not had the best 7 days. Let's flip it over to 3 months, because that's what we were looking at before. So here's Barbara's 3 months. Let's go back to a year. Let's see how long she's actually been trading. I'm assuming it's a sheet, but you don't know. So trading since about April. So the orange line, that's Barbara's P&L. By comparison, down here, that's the performance of the DAX. The purple dotted line is the DAX, the German index. So Barbara's peak P&L was up 122%, and at the moment is up about 90%. So it's given back. Barbara's not having the best run of it over recent weeks, but it's given back a chunk of profit. But overall, good performance. So performance since start is 90%, up 90%. So let's have a look at these details down here. So we have member since 7th of April 2017, so that ties in with, of course, when she started trading. Volatility 15.7%, number of trades 1,800 trades, so a pretty active trader. Winning trades 93.56%, a high number here, and high I suppose could be anything above 70%. This is particularly high. Always makes me a little bit wary, because does it mean they have a problem admitting when they're wrong? If they always want winning trades, if you've ever traded yourself, I'm sure you know, if you hang on to losers too long, it's not the best trading strategy. So maybe that's one note of caution for Barbara. Winning months 75%, so okay, 3/4 of the time Barbara makes money. Real money trader. Now this is another concern for me. So even though Barbara's been on the platform since April, Barbara's only been trading with real money since September. Okay, so for some people, making the switch from trading with paper money, a demo account, to trading with real money, it's a big psychological change. So you can often see their performance affected. Saying that, it hasn't affected Barbara too much. She has continued to grow the account. Maximum drawdown 21.6%, so given up, and it looks to be actually in the last couple of weeks or so she's had that drawdown. Okay, so let's have a look at the stats in a bit deeper. So here's the performance. So again, ideally what we're looking for is a consistent monthly or quarterly performance without too much volatility along the way. So April 15.9%, 8.7% there in May. June down 2.5%, 3.6%, 17% in August, 40% in October, which is, it's an impressive figure, but making 40% in a month does suggest a particularly high level of risk, and then down 11.5% for November so far. So again, pretty volatile trader, this one. There are much less volatile traders you can look at. We'll have a look at one in a minute. But the year-to-date performance up 90%. Okay, so we can find out a lot more about their trading. Does their style fit a style that we want to be following? And down here we have how it broke down the monthly performance. Then we have what markets are traded. Lots of the traders on the platform trade the German 30, the DAX. So just under 27% of Barbara's trades on the DAX, just under 20% on the Dow. Then we have the Swiss index, the Nasdaq, gold, FTSE, the EU, the Euro stocks, and some other stuff in there as well. Okay, so we can see a whole load of data. And then there's a bit more. We can see open positions. She's running a lot of losses at the moment. Down there, that's loads of open positions. And then down here we can see closed positions, profits, and losses. Okay, so Barbara has had a great run, still up 90% for the year so far. The cautious note here is pretty volatile, pretty big swings in the P&L, and only been a real money trader since September. So that could make some people a little bit wary. Let's take a step back and see. Let's try and find maybe a slightly calmer trader. Edelmetall. This is one I know because Edelmetall has been on the platform for a while. Let's take a look at this one, and we'll see a slightly. Actually, they've not had the best run recently either. But if we go back, there we go. There's Edelmetall. It's been trading on the platform since, where are we? December 2015. So we've got nearly 2 years of track record for Elon Mittal. Real money trader, you can see down here, since May 2016. So had, what, 6 months of trading paper money, then flips over around about here to real money. And overall, the trend is up. You know, clearly not having the best time of it since September, but overall a profitable trader. And again, if we look at the numbers down here, last year performance was 88%, so a cracking year last year, having a bit of a tougher time this year, but up 14% for the year to date. So maybe a slightly less volatile trader. Hopefully you can see, you can compare the different contrasts in the level of volatility. So maybe that's someone who would suit other people rather than Barbara. But you can follow 5 traders, so you can split out your risk if you want to. Okay, so so that's that. So what we're going to do next, you know, you can sort of sit there and play around with this stuff and sort it by P&L, see who's been performing well, sort it by maximum drawdown, who gives up the most or the least, and how does that compare to their profit, all of that sort of stuff. So you can click there and drill down to find the trader you want to. What we're going to do next is start building up our portfolio. So what we're going to do is choose to follow the traders. So I think there are 4 traders I'm following already in this portfolio. Barbara isn't one of them, so we're going to add Barbara. Then I'll show you the portfolio builder. Then we'll look at the really important part of setting risk levels per trader, and then we're away. We'll click the button and get it executing on live account. I think mine is already running on a live account, so let me just shut that, disconnect the trades now. Okay, there are no trades happening yet, so let's stop those and we'll do it as if we're starting from scratch. Okay, so let's go back and look at Barbara. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so let's assume I've got some fairly conservative, low volatility traders in my account. So what I want to do is I'm going to follow Barbara to add a little bit of bit into the mix. I've got a question in here. I'm just trying to sort out my screen. Sorry if I ignored your question. I only just seen it popped up. Okay, so oh, Tim Young, yes, is he FTSE trader? I think, isn't he? I think he does seem quite consistent. We'll see. We'll jump back on it in a second and see if we can find him. But here's Barbara. So I'm going to choose to follow Barbara. So I quite fancy a bit of volatility. She has had some incredible months. She's having a bad month at the moment, but I'm going to take the view, okay, there are going to be bumps along the way. I want to follow Barbara. So I'll click on follow. Here we go. So these 4 others are people that I had in my portfolio already. Okay, so I've got Elon Mittal. That's one we looked at with relatively low volatility, having a tough time of the last few months. Jane, let's have a quick look at this one's performance because I added that one in last time round. So have a quick look at that. See how Jane's doing. Okay, not too bad. Again, a little bit under the cosh of the last month, but real money trader since May 2016. Seems historically has been a good, solid performer and is up 20% year to date. So that's Jane. Let's jump back to the portfolio. DAX called 3. I think this one runs a few different strategies. There you go. There's the P&L trading real money since December 2016, and so far this year is up 25%. Very good year. Down a bit this month, down 0.24% this month, but fairly calm level of profit, as you can see there. And the final trader was that one who is the top real money trader at the moment. I'm not quite sure how he's done. Oh, not too bad. Off a little bit over the last week. Big drawdown, 34% max drawdown, so again, quite a volatile trader. So that one's in the mix. And there's Barbara, who I just added. Okay, so this is my portfolio builder. Now at the moment, nothing is happening. So if they're doing trades, I am not following them. So you'll see down here, that's the button I need to click to execute on the live account. Okay, so we're not going to do that. So what we're going to do first of all is confirm the trader's individual risk level. So if I jump back, what I can do for each trader is define the level of risk I want taken on my account if I'm following their trades. So if I click on this settings button up here, so let me just talk you through the order size thing here. So please select 1 times if you want to follow this top trader proportionally. If your top trader then loses 2% of his capital or her capital in one trade, for example, you'd also lose about 2% of your capital on this trade. So let's pretend Edelmetall is trading with a €100,000 account. Edelmetall does a trade on the Dow and sets their stop loss at a level that it means if it goes wrong, they're going to lose 2%. Okay, so we're going to lose €2,000 in that example. Now, if I've got a £2,000 account, clearly I don't want to be doing trades that are going to lose me €2,000. But what it does is on a percentage basis. So if they're risking 2%, the trade is done on my account at a size that means I'm risking 2% as well. So on my £2,000 account in this example, my risk would be, what's 2% of 2,000? £40, isn't it? That's right, isn't it? Yeah. So my risk would be £40. So if they do, so their account is 50 times the size of mine. If they do a trade that's £50 a point, it will be done at £1 a point effective size on my account. So hopefully that makes sense. You can dial the risk up or down. So if you're, and I think the best way of learning how this works, if you've never done it before, you do have a demo you can play around with for 3 weeks, so you can follow people on a demo and get a feeling for it. But if you want to do it with real money, you can dial the risk right down. So I can dial the risk down to 0.25 of the size. So if they do a trade that risks losing 2%, the trade will be done on my account at a size that's, in this example here, a quarter of that. So I'll only risk losing 0.5%. Okay, so the stop loss is in the same place, I get in at the same place, but the financial risk is much less. So hopefully that makes sense. You can really just dial down or dial up the sort of risk you're comfortable with. If you want to go crazy, you can say, well, if they do a trade that risks losing 2% of their account, I want it done 3 times the size on my account. Okay, so you can set the level of risk you're happy with. And if you want to, let me just bang that down to 1. You can set individual amounts on the various stuff they trade. Personally, I tend to just stick to that to 1. Okay, so I can go through and set that up for each individual trader. So let me just, I think these should all be at 1. There we go. Let's say with Barbara, because Barbara's a bit more volatile and is not having the best time of it at the moment. I might think, well, actually, I don't mind having Barbara in my portfolio, but I want to dial the risk down in the early days until I'm absolutely sure that Barbara has got her mojo back. So I'll knock Barbara down to 0.25. So if Barbara risks losing 1% on a trade, it'll be done on my account risking 0.25%. Okay, so I can set the level of risk. So confirm settings. That's it. It's done. So what it does here, what it shows me here, is the theoretical performance of my account. So if I could go back in time to 12 months ago and follow all these traders over the last 12 months, I would have made somewhat unrealistic 350% return. Okay, on the level of risk that I've set up. Okay, that's how it would have broke down. Unfortunately, of course, we can't go back in time 12 months, and the classic disclaimer. The past performance is no guarantee of future performance, but it gives me this theoretical performance if I'd gone back. So I've got my 5 traders. I've decided on the level of risk for all of them. I've got some money in my account, so I'm nearly ready to go. So if I click on execute on live account, here we go. So there's a warning that comes up. Now clearly, because these people are trading on the platform, they have open positions. Edelmetall's got 144 open trades. Jane's got 60. DAX called 31. Giuseppe 21. Barbara 88. If I want to, I can mimic their existing trades. But of course, the thing to understand is your trade will be carried out wherever the market is trading now, not where they opened it. So if yesterday somebody bought the Dow when it was 50 points lower than it is now, you'll end up getting in at the price today. So for me, I've got no interest in getting in on their existing trades. What I want to do is follow any new trades that they've done. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So if I click on execute portfolio, any trades they do in the future will now be carried out on my account. There we go. So there's my account balance, 1260. Unrealized P&L, because clearly no trades have been done as of yet. And I stopped following ahead of this webinar this evening, so it closed out a bunch of trades that were running, and there were these small losing trades that were running. So at the moment, so now if Barbara, Giuseppe, Edel Metal, Daxcall 3, Jenny, if they do any trades from now on, or the trades they do from now on, these will be carried out on my account. There is another level of loss protection. What we can do is set what is in effect a financial stop loss on your account. So the traders that we're following will have stop losses on their trades, and we've dialed up or down the level of risk that we're happy with for each individual trader. But what I can also do is say, well, effectively, if my account balance falls to X, please close out any open trades and don't follow any new ones. So let's say in this example, I'm going to set that at £750. So my account balance at the moment is 1260, £1,260. If it falls to 750 because of open losses, close out all the trades and don't follow any new trades. Okay, so we click on save. That's it. It's done. So you can see it in there. So they've got stop losses on their trades. I decided the level of risk I'm happy to take, and I've also put a financial stop loss on my trades. And that's it. So following people is as straightforward as that, and managing the risk is as easy as that. When it comes to viewing the positions, viewing any open trades, it's really straightforward. The easiest way to do it is how we've been doing it already through this just simple web browser. So, and that's known as WeTrade, for like a high-level view of what's going on. But there's also another platform we can log into if we want some real details. So let me just go back to that. So at the moment, we're on the Aondo website. If I go to my account, I'm on this page here. This shows me what is going on in my account. So at the moment, no open positions. We'll come back later and maybe somebody will have placed a trade and will have followed it. So I've got no profit or loss that I'm running, and I can see my stop loss. What I can also do though is go into TradeHub. So TradeHub is maybe a trading platform that you're familiar with if you've used other trading platforms, or maybe you use TradeHub. You know, it's a normal trading platform. So here it is. I've logged in now. So my cash balance again, 1260, £1,260. Open P&L is nothing because there are no trades carried out. So there's the account value. But if I had any open positions, I'd see them all in here. So within here, again, if you're familiar with other trading accounts, you do things like funding your account. You can look at history. So if I can look at what's happened over the last month, for example. So I can scroll back and see any trades that have been closed out. I think that's when I disconnected all the trades. Down there, I can see, you know, order history, transaction history, all of that sort of stuff. So I can see exactly what's been going on my account. And if any trades get done, the open positions and the stop loss we'll see in here. So for me personally, I tend not to look at this too much, the TradeHub view. What I'm happy looking at is just this high-level view of what's going on with the account here. But if you actually want to see the nuts and bolts of what's going on, you can see it here in the TradeHub. Okay, and TradeHub, what you also get when you open up your follower account, you get a normal inverted commas account as well, spread betting trading account. There we go. So if you want to do your own trades in the normal way, we've seen some big moves today. I mean, the euro is up about 1% today, so we've seen some really big moves today. So you can log on and trade in the normal way on a normal account on normal spreads. Okay, and you can flip between these by going to the drop-down list here. So there's my follower account. So I've only got £46 in this account, the self-directed account. But if I can jump into there, there's my follower account for following people. So the spreads on this account are a bit wider than normal market spreads, and that's because the way the people get compensated, because clearly that they're not showing their trades just for the fun of it. You know, they get paid a compensation, and part of their compensation comes via the spread. So for example, look on the Dow here, it's a 4-point spread on here, and if we jump into the normal trading account, scroll down, it's a more normal 2-point spread there. Okay, and that's it. You can run the usual reports, you can look at histories, you can download your account histories. So you have two different ways of sort of monitoring what's going on in your account. Someone's asked, can we have a look at Tim Young FTSE in the rankings list? That appears to be someone's favorite. Let's have a look. Let's see if we type in Tim Trading. Is it Tim Trading? That looks like, I think that could be the person, couldn't it? Let's have a quick look at their performance. There we go. That's an interesting one, isn't it? That looks pretty steady. The odd crazy move now and again, but has churned out. What's their profit look like? What's their year-to-date profit look like? A very acceptable 20% nearly last year, and equally not too bad, 8.5% so far year-to-date. So this one, if this is the right one, seems to have a slightly more conservative approach, but has been profitable for 3 years. 3 years on the trot. I'm assuming that's the right one. Let me just put in Tim Young. Now there's no one in the name of Tim Young, so I'm assuming that is the right Tim. There are only 2 traders coming up with the name Tim. Who's this Timotheus? Timotheus seems a lot more volatile. Let's have a look. Look at that one. Oh, yeah. It's only been in the last few months. Seems to have really turned down the last few months. So I don't think that's the one. Big hit in September, -6, even bigger again in October, -13, and -2 or so in there. Okay, so that's the idea, behind following traders and building up the list of traders to follow. We've used both platforms. WeTrade for the high-level view, TradeHub for the detailed view. So with TradeHub, if someone's done a trade on the FTSE, for example, if you want to, you can adjust the position yourself. I wouldn't recommend that, because the whole idea of following people is that we're just letting them get on with it. We're letting them do the trades and get on with it. So personally, I don't interfere in their stop losses and stuff like that. You can view account history, including financing costs, account statements, add-in funds, all of that sort of stuff. We've done that. You see all the key figures at the top, the account value, your open P&L, the total value. You can monitor and change positions, but it's important to know that if you're following someone and they've done a trade and you change the stop loss, for example, or you take the stop loss away, you're in charge of that trade. Now, if they close that trade out, it won't be closed automatically in your account. If you don't interfere with it at all, if someone you're following buys the FTSE, you'll buy the FTSE in your account. When they close that trade, they'll be closed in your account. So again, this is another reason for me where if I'm following people, I'm just going to follow them and get on with it. But you can do the normal stuff like running statements and all that sort of thing. So we'll see. It looks like nobody, since we started the webinar, nobody's placed the trades yet. Maybe they've all finished for the day and then they'll start trading again during European trade. But it really is as straightforward as that. Like I said, I've been doing it for about 18 months now. I still do my own trading. I still probably trade 2 or 3 times a week. And I'm a late convert, I think, to the idea of this sort of copy/follow trading. But I do think it's an interesting way of adding an extra level of risk and market exposure, whereas you're almost acting as like the manager of a team rather than getting out there on the pitch and trying to do it yourself. I have blogged about running a live account. If you go to my website, it's tradeafter.com. There's no hyphen there, so tradeafter.com. I do need to update it. I've not updated it since the summer, but I think there's about 4 or 5 updates there, starting right from scratch, following one trader, then another. Then one trader has an absolute awful week, so then recovering from that. So you can read about that on my website at tradeafter.com. But any questions, drop me an email via the website. Go to the Aondo website. There's loads of information there. But hopefully you found it interesting this evening, this introduction to following people. It's not a license to print money, obviously, because you can follow traders, and as we've seen tonight with some of them, that they've had a tough time. Some of them in the last sort of it shows that there is a way that maybe you can smooth out some of the volatility and some of the risk. But we'll start wrapping things up there. So thanks very much for coming along. I'll let you get back to your evening. We do these regular webinars every Wednesday as well, which is all about self-directed trading, where you'd buy and where you'd sell, all that sort of stuff. And the next one of those is at 12:30 tomorrow lunchtime. And if you can't make it, there's always a recording available. But we'll finish things up there. You'll be sent, I think, a link to the recording of this as well, if there are any bits you missed or you want to watch again. But I'll let you get on with the rest of your evening and finish the webinar off there.